What's up? What's up? What's up, good people? As you can see right here, Pat Bev is basically back with his new show. And with his new show comes the same scenario that we see constantly. Uh, man, definitely hit the like button up as we're going to get into it. As I take this mirror thing off, there we go. And we get back to basics. Back to basics. Yeah, I know it's crazy, man. Now, this is what I need to bring people in here because I'm glad that we're back. So let's give an applause for that. All right, we're back. Now, and Pat Bev came in the house that night and got into it with a family member. He came in, saw the sister with her boyfriend who's older, and he had to go through the legal situations and ramifications of all that nonsense. And it came out to be they weren't going to press any charges against Pat Bev. So he had to go through this whole thing to get things resolved. Oh, Outlaw's back around. He missed a very interesting live stream. Yes, the Patreon is on fire. I told you I had videos ready to go for y'all. And believe me, that's not even the tip. You got about 2-3 more bombs coming. So all y'all finna eat on the Patreon. I've been giving you appetizers, you know. So now you're getting the meat and potatoes. Now, and that's weird because on Patreon, people do one video, right? And that one video is supposed to last you forever. I'm serious. They'll do one video and that one video be for the whole week. Or they'll do 2 videos a week. I'm serious. You won't get anything. They don't, and y'all don't even ask them for anything. I give you like 2-3 times things a day. Like what I did today should last a week. I know, right? But let's get into this because this is a very teachable moment. We can all learn from this. So shouts out to Pat Bev. Now, Pat Bev is back. And when he gets back, you know, from his, you know, all the stuff that's going on, listen.
I hit the group like, yo, you know, I'm back, boys. I'm ready to work. You feel me? Like, man, stuff is past, man. Y'all been holding down. I'm ready to get back to work. Ron reach out to me, man. I know you glad this is over. This. I'm like, all right. So okay, when do we start? And then they go quiet, and I'm like, they like, have you talked to anybody? I'm like, talk to anybody? Like, I talked to Dave. Dave say, have I talked to y'all? I talked to y'all. Y'all tell me, have I talked to somebody else? So me and Dave get on the phone. And Dave, shout out to Dave too, man. Solid dude since day one. Like from him finding me into where I am right now, media-wise, he's been a phenomenal, right? I talked to Dave, and Dave hit me like, yeah, the guys wanted me to reach out and tell you that, you know, they want to keep going how the party is now. You know, you've been gone for 3 months, and they want to, you know, just keep that going right now. And I'm like, what guys? Like, what guys are you talking about? Like, he's like, the guys from the pod. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, why hasn't, you feel me? I'm talking about producers. Like, I'm talking about I got people who produce the show currently. I had them sleeping on my couch in my house, bought them beds, have my chef cook them meals. Like, I still ain't heard from them. Like, excuse me if I feel some type of way, y'all. Excuse me. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. You feel me? I'm wrong a lot. But I'm a real dude. So y'all let me know if I'm wrong or not for feeling this type of way. This is over.
Now, what he's alluding to, people, is his former podcast partner that he felt did him wrong. Okay. Who didn't even have the balls to tell him he wanted to continue the show without him. And we got to be careful. Because in this podcast space, what you bring around you is going to stick with you forever. You can give people credibility. You can give them your cosign. And it'll go from there. Now, here's the thing, right? Who you think is more popular? Pat Bev or his co-host Rome? Now, Rome shows up on a lot of different things. Rome showed up on a lot of different podcasts, and they signed with Barstool Sports, right? But in most professional athletes' podcast shows, as we've seen from other shows, right? They don't own the IP address. Pat Bev did not own this show. This show did not belong to Pat Bev, even though the show had his name on the front of it. Now, the athlete is the reason for the podcast show because nobody knows who the hell Rome is. So now Pat Bev has brought the people to know who Ron is. So now when Pat Bev isn't there and Ron is doing the show, now Ron's like, hey, we're doing good without Pat Bev. We don't need him now. We can kick him to the curb. Right when he was the reason for the podcast show. He was the reason for your success. So now you got what you wanted. You got the audience from Pat Bev. Now you can go and exploit his work. This is what happens, people, in the podcast space. The Pat Bev podcast with Ron. It should say the Pat Bev podcast owned by Barstool, not Pat Bev. And Pat had to learn a very real lesson. They were never your friends, bro. They did not have love for you. You were there like another athlete that they always do this to. You're expendable. They use you up for what you can provide for them, and then you're gone. Like a memory. They just don't care. They don't care about your plight, bro. You know, and Pat Bev now is starting his own show on his own. Still not mad at Dave, but now he wants to build his thing up and possibly get another deal somewhere else. You see, this doesn't happen when you own your own. When you own your own show, they can't do this to you because you own it. You see, when you own your IP address, you get to dictate when you go, when you stop, what you want to do, how you want to do it. It's just that most NBA players, they don't have the knowledge of this. So they go and acquire it for someone else, or they leave it for everyone else to do. So they don't know how to leverage brand partnerships. They don't know about the platform. And it's the same thing with the artists being controlled by the record labels. We don't have any record labels that's made of people like us where we can dictate fair deals amongst the people that create and generate that energy for the whole world that we are all eating off of. So when they do brand integrations, right, where professional athletes can consider all their brand integrations in their podcast, creating their branding segments, and go through exclusive sponsorships to try to enhance their visibility. All of these strategies, these athletes can like effectively negotiate deals for their podcast shows and everything else, and value, for their audience. The most athletes don't know what you're saying. They're saying blah, blah, blah. They're used to hiring people to do things. So when you look at all this, well, we're going to monetize this. And it's like, okay, we're going to have like sponsorships, premium content, merchandising to maximize the revenue. So that way you build a strong audience, building a loyal audience through engaging content and constant delivery. Now, when you have the thing where you want to focus on being authentic, you got to have a unique brand about yourself that people will come to you before they go to anybody else. My uniqueness is that I tell people the truth. That's what I would like to feel. I tell people the truth. And then whether they like it or don't like it or whatever, they hear the truth. And we're not puppets. I've been offered multi-million-dollar deals that I have turned down without even batting an eye. Yes, the money was great. The money looked great. The money sounded great. Everything. But I said no. Well, because if you don't say no, then where will you be? Where will you be if you said no? If they said no? If the whole world got together and said, hey, this is how I feel about the situation. This is where I'm going with it. What are you going to do? What are you going to say? No one cares. Your plight is your plight. Mm-hmm. Well, if you got people that are highly vested in your survival, let's say people out here like Pat Bev want to get into the business. You look at Kwame Brown. What does he possess? He possesses a truth quality. If Kwame Brown wanted to be a podcaster, he could be a podcaster. Everybody will give him a deal. He is not blacklisted anywhere. Why? Because they know Kwame Brown moves the needle. He's being sabotaged like I'm being sabotaged. They're pushing those with agendas. You've seen no names getting 100,000 views. Don't nobody know who the hell they are because it's an agenda. They would rather go to the next person that is going to play ball because they have zero integrity. And zero integrity is better than people that have integrity. And as long as you have those people out there, they will gravitate to those and try to make them the end all be all. But here's the thing. As academics tried to allude to me like, dude, you're going to lose. And this is what he was trying to tell me through other people. Like, dude, like, you think he liked the Syrupy guys? He really don't. But he knows I got to talk about the Syrupy guys because the YNs are coming up. They're going to be on the internet. So that's where it's going to keep it going. So if I don't talk about the Syrupy guys, that's going to be them. You know, so I'm interviewing the Syrupy guys to the Syrupy guys. They know me because they grew up listening to me. So you talking about all Nas and all this stuff. That stuff is, they gone. All them out, they ain't even under the algorithm. Who cares about Nas and all that? Hip hop and all that. It's about like 6ix9ine and all those guys. I'm like, dude, I can't do that. That's your lane. And if you want to stay in the syrupy lane, knock yourself out. But my audience, I know most of them probably don't even listen to a damn Trippie Redd. Just using them as an example. I do not sit here and do Trippie Redd content. It's not news to me. Now, when you look at the Pat Bev podcast, what should have been done here? I'm not saying don't go do a deal, but what are the terms? What are your askings? What is the splits? Who handles the costs? Who's hiring the staff? How we're splitting the staff and the revenue, my likeness, or are you paying for my name to be on the podcast? You're handling all the distribution and everything else on that side. How are the splits? What are the numbers of the splits? Are we splitting YouTube? What about other revenues, sponsorships, deals, other marketing ventures that can come in? Oh, we can't have an individual deal with so-and-so because they're a rival competitor with this person. Who's the deciding factor in these deals that go through? Like, if we got DraftKings, does that mean we can't do BetMGM? Does that mean we can't do Underdog? Does it mean that we can't do Prize Picks? Can we all coexist and work together? All of these things got to be worked out before you get into a contract. All of these things need to be negotiated before you get into the deal. What are the splits? If you own a podcast, here's what you should know. We've seen what not to do and how that was displayed. What not to do by a said person who won't be named, but we know who the hell it is, who had his name on the show, had it in his house, and didn't own a goddamn thing. And they could kick him right off the show whenever they want, just like they did Pat Bev here, and still run the show. They've been running it in his damn house, and he'll be sitting there like watching the show from the sidelines. Now, here's the thing. Now they moved the show out his house. Named the show Underdog Arena. And now they can put anybody in there. Now you have no control and no understanding Pat Bev went into this agreement with Dave basically facilitating all of the information he needs. Dave Floyd, no, all right, they already got the contacts, meaning that you're gonna get said numbers because they're gonna be in daily motion. They're gonna be in all different rotations. They're gonna be in all of these different places to expand to other options. They're going to take it to the next level. If you didn't understand that already, they are prepared to take things all the way to the next level. Now, what can take away from that? What can take away from everything that I just stated? Right? If you get in trouble legally, I understand Dave and them saying, hey, we got to take you off the air. This is bad right now. It looks bad. So we got to take you off the air so we can air this out or fix whatever the problem is. We need to fix this. We got to get ahead of it. I'm not going to do a video about Kenyon Martin's situation. That's been done. and done and done. It's done already. Now, here's the situation that people have to put into the hourglass. When you are dealing with people whose reach is being tampered or controlled or condensed, you're always going to be faced with a different type of reality. And that reality is never going to match up to the playing fields that you see laying out before you. They're always going to come up with an excuse to try to hold you back. Now, for instance, all of these different people who have these beliefs that this is going to change because of their celebrity, their name, and what they brought to the table, yeah, it could play. But when they're looking at things from a legal standpoint, that's fine. If Tone, whatever his name, wanted to go the way he was going, he should have had that conversation with Pat Bev. And because he didn't have that conversation with Pat Bev, he continuously made the wrong decision countless and countless times. He kept making the wrong decision. And because they continue to make the wrong decision by not communicating with Pat Bev prior to him saying, I'm back, let's get back to work, let's do this, they should have said, Pat, we're going to move in a different direction early on. Ron should have had that conversation with Pat. Like, Pat, we like the way things are going now. We kind of want to keep it like this. I'm sorry, bro. For him and the rest of the people that he took care of to be snakish like that and the way they was moving is foul. Dave having to be the one to explain this to Pat. That should have happened later. It shouldn't have been phone tag. That goes to show you he didn't get snaked. Here's the thing. He never owned it. You see, we as the viewing public believe Pat Bev owns the show. It's the Pat Bev show. In little words, featuring Rome. So now, who owns the show really? Who owns the IP address? Barstools. So it is Barstool's show. Now, Pat Bev, by Pat Bev, for Pat Bev, has his own show on his own YouTube with his own imprint, calling it the Pat Bev Show, Episode 1. You know why? Because that's what it is. For the first time ever, he's doing his own podcast show for him, by him, nobody interfering. Now, here's the thing. When will professional athletes learn? They don't need to go to the masters. I'm not here to mess up their business, but I know why they do what they do, because they don't know a lot of these technical people. They don't know all these other ins and outs about what's going on, the actual where the money coming in at, whose platform we're going to use, how we're going to get there. What's up, Skillum? I still ain't recovered from that loss last night. Exactly. Barstool podcast shows really don't do black podcast shows anyway. You know, hence why Roan is on this show. He said IP stands for intellectual property, not IP as in internet protocol. I know that. But sometimes I might say IP address just because I'm used to saying, but I know what IP stands for. And when people sign away their IP, that's just, they don't own it. Yeah, likeness rights, all of it. Once you sign all of that away, you got no control over anything. Well, they have the connections. They got the money. That's what it really comes down to, the money. But the professional athlete, you should already have the money. It don't take much to run a podcast show. It really don't. You don't really need a big major band in production. They got AI to handle the majority of the stuff that you're trying to do. They got all this other stuff lined up. So like I tell people all the time, I'm like, what? I'm not seeing any of that. That's why I look at them like that. Really? Do you know the term deal that everybody run into in the splits in these deals? All of these guys, Jeff Teague, Club 520, all of them. You know what their deals look like with their splits on podcasts? 75-25. Everybody's getting the same deal. You're getting a 75-25 deal. Most of these podcast shows get 25%. And I'm not even in the podcast space. I'm not in the podcast space. I have been chosen many times to get into podcast space. And I said, nah. One reason why I don't like podcast space, it's a job. Just like anything else, it's a job. You start from this time to this time, and this is what we're going to do for 3 hours straight. I was like, okay, that's cool for 3 hours straight, but it's a structure of a job. This person, you got an assistant. You got this person with their ideas. It's not your show. Somebody else is running the show. You got a producer. You got all these other people, and they say, well, we kind of like this guy, even though it's the topic, but it'd be like, he just kicked his kid out of a window. So what are we supposed to do about this? Well, he's a friend of the company. We got to be nice. We had his agent on last week, so we got to be nice today. So we don't mention him kicking the kid out of the window. No. There was a domestic incident and an unfortunate situation happened. We don't know all the facts. That's what we said. Okay. I don't want to have to go through these meetings. I don't want to have to go through 25% of everything. That means 25% of revenue, 25% of ads. Then this gives up everything you worked for. When Charlemagne signed with Netflix, I sat there and told every last one of you this was the wrong deal to sign. But he didn't have a choice because Black Effect isn't owned by him, though it looks like it. He got 51%, they got 49%. They is iHeartRadio. And the reason why they took this deal is because they have to pay these overinflated contracts. They're overpaying people for the space. And a lot of people's attention is not going to these shows. So to justify and not fire these people, they need somebody to come in and cut the costs and cover the costs because iHeart can't afford to keep paying out all this stuff to these people. People are going to get fired. So in order to help, the Netflix move was the deal. So by contrast, it brings in the Black Effect podcast shows, which crippled all of the momentum that that Jada and Fat Joe had with their show, which was young and just getting started. Now they're going to Netflix. It's like, whoa, I'm sorry. You're and who controls all of it? Netflix. They control what you can put on your YouTube now. They control your Twitter. They control all of it. You can't post nothing they don't want you to post. And that's why the Breakfast Club is trying to find that medium balance. Like they're doing commercials. Right. Why are people going to Netflix for podcast shows? Because when people listen to podcast shows, or let's say you listen to the Breakfast Club, what are you doing? You getting dressed from work, the thing just playing, you doing everything, moving around the house. When you watch Netflix, you're sitting still. You're sitting down in front of a TV, or you're on a plane. Nobody's sitting still watching the Breakfast Club. Who does that? Nobody. So to see what happened to Pat, it's just like, man, Pat is going to be all right, though, because Pat just learned early. He learned early in the game. He learned before he got 5 and 4 years down the road, and he lost everything and got to start all over again. That's the dynamic. And then now that Netflix come with all this money, everybody see the money. But you don't know that money comes with benchmarks. Now, with those benchmarks comes a whole big blow up because YouTube has got a way bigger audience than Netflix. Plus, you pay for Netflix. Who wants to pay to see The Breakfast Club? No one. No one wants to pay to see Charlemagne and DJ Envy and all them. No, they don't care. Nobody pays them. They free. If you had to pay to see them, you wouldn't want to listen to them. It's common sense. And they screwed up Jada and Joe when they were growing, right in the middle of their growth. You see, Wallow and Gilly already got their bag before all of this happened. So now them going to Netflix, yeah, they screwed now, but not as screwed as they used to be. And this had nothing to do with black shows. This had something to do with the white shows that they got that weren't making any money. They weren't bringing the numbers in. See, they love to put black over everything, right? This had nothing to do with black people. Telling you that right now. This had nothing to do with Charlemagne. It had nothing to do with any of this. It has something to do with white shows. The deal was with iHeartRadio, not Charlemagne. Now, I'm going to log into my Netflix account. And see if I can go to my home, and I will share this to the rest of y'all here and see if I see anything on podcast. Look at this. Where are the podcasts? Where are the pods? Damn, I don't see any podcasting. Look at this. No podcasting on the show at all. Let's go to new and popular. Gotta be advertising pods here, right? Where are the podcast shows? Okay, well, let me type it in and see. Podcasts. Here we go. Podcasts. Now on Netflix. Let's go. White Show. There we go. Joe and Jada. Here it is. Murder with My Husband. Another show that they just started that wasn't making any money. Conspiracy Theories, The Big Picture. Where's the other show there? There's Rory and Mal, who are suffering also, but at least they got a quick bag before that happened. The Breakfast Club, who was the main show out of all of them. Let's look at the shows that were falling that got saved by this deal that they brought in to save the white shows. Buried Bones. Dear Chelsea, another show that was going to be canceled. It was only 17 episodes, right? Dear Chelsea was going to be canceled. One of the main shows on the list that was going to be cut, right? Blow Your Mind. that show, 33 episodes, was going to be cut. They couldn't afford to pay for all these shows. So all these shows was going to be My Favorite Murderer was going to be cut. 2 seasons in, they were overpaying for this show. Right? So all of these shows was the reason that this deal was done. The Pete Davidson show, 8 episodes in with Pete Davidson, this show was going to be cut. People weren't caring as much. Pardon My Take, which is a great show, was still thriving. It was not having any fall offs whatsoever. So all of these white shows they brought that was losing, even all the kitchen and Test My Kitchen, the Psychology of Your 20s, another show. This is another one, Dissect. Early show that it was good first season, starting to die out. They want to save paying all the costs for these shows. Now, looking at that dynamic, of course, you look at all that high-priced garbage and you say to yourself, damn, why am I paying for this? Hell, I should just go to Tubi. You know why? Because Tubi is made by people from the hood. I mean, you're going to find some funny stuff on Tubi. I ain't going to lie. Dog, I swear to God, whoever is writing this stuff for Tubi is hilarious. I said, this person hilarious. There's no build up. They cut everything out. I can't believe it. I come home and you sleeping with my best friend while my mother's in the hospital? Did she crash the car? Where's my product? It was in the car. So I just lost all that product. But you're sleeping with my best friend. Don't try to change the subject. I mean, it get crazy as hell on these shows. 100%. They had some hitman that could like bend bullets around trees. He was a hitman or whatever, a black hitman. Man, it's hilarious, man. I swear to God, I don't know how they do this stuff or even get the $5 budget they do to do it, but man, it's entertaining. It's entertaining, the craziness of it and the low budget stuff, but you'll actually find people with like a budget. Like they'll have some real movies down there. Dude said, I seen that one. But that's what I'm saying though. You know what they don't got to worry about though? Somebody stealing from them. You know what they don't got to worry about? Somebody trying to con them out of their positions. You know what they don't have to worry about? Somebody that keeps screwing them out of their revenue. They were like, go Tubi. When Tubi first came out, they said Tubi was going to go broke, right? Tubi going to go broke. Wow, that's just another one that's going to fall. Tubi is one of the best platforms going. Why? Because there was no platform that was promoting African-American work, period. So they had a lot of these channels that tried to put out black shows because black people didn't have a place to go. HBO didn't care. Showtime didn't care. If you watch cable, when you would come home from the club, That's when all the black movie stuff be playing. When you come home from the club, it's like 3, 4 in the morning or something. You turn on the TV, they be like, oh shit, Harlem Nights. You know, you would lose your mind. They be having a movie on that you ain't seen in a minute. Like, oh snap, look at this. See, that's how it used to be back in the day because cable ran on a schedule. So at night, they would air it. Now you can watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. Hell, you don't even got to wait no more for when the show finna air on TV. Soon as midnight hit, you can go right to the app and watch it right away. You ain't got to wait for everybody. So now you get to watch stuff on your time. Before you had to wait till that show aired before you could run out and do things. So it taught people patience. It taught people how to deal with things. Now, no one has any patience. Everybody's impatient about everything. They mad now if a show take a week and give it to you week by week. I want it all right now. What can they do with Netflix, dude? Just give me the whole season right now. I want to eat it all up in one day. They'd be like, damn, you can't wait a week, bro. You can't wait a week. This is why the shows were aired like this and not dumped in one big bowl. Like, oh, people go and rewatch it over and over and over again. That's not necessarily true. And now Netflix is seeing the results of that. People be like, I don't care about it. They'll watch 2 episodes and then they fall off. They don't even finish the season. And they was like, wait a minute, we gave them the whole season right away. Yeah, they feel like, well, it'll always be there. They got the whole season. They'll come back. But if you gave them one piece at a time, and they want to know what happens, what I can't wait till next week. Right. It's more than just the buildup. It's the process, what you just saw. You don't get a chance to process everything that you saw from the episode because you go on right to the next one. There's things you missed. I used to cover the show and tell people what all they missed because they was like, oh man, that did happen in that episode. I forgot all about it. Which episode was that? You know, they can't remember because they didn't just watch them all on a binge. So it's like one show. They can't remember what episode stuff is on. The more people talk, the worse situations become. And when you start seeing what happened to Pat Bev, you realize, damn, this thing is a mess. And to come out of jail, to be told, you know, you got to start from scratch, you know, that's a harsh reality. You know, he ain't somebody that made hundreds of millions of dollars in the league, you know what I'm saying? But he made some money, but still, that's a hard pill to swallow.
I'm back. Pat Bev is back. I'm back in front of the cameras. Everyone that reached out, thoughts and prayers to the family. Thank you so much. It means a ton. Man, I missed out on so much basketball, but it's still so much to talk about. I know you guys are wondering, Barstool, Hoop and Hollering, we go dive into that. Obviously, Chris Paul retiring, we go dive into that. Trae Young, Washington Wizards, have to dive into that, right? Just a ton of topics that we could talk about, but I'm just so happy to be back in front of the camera. Tune in to the episode. My feelings towards Barstool. As you guys know, that I'm not on, I'm currently not on Hooping and Hollering right now. it came as a surprise a little bit, right? Actually shocked a little bit due to the fact that this show was the Pat Bev pod with Rome less than 6 months ago.
Now, when you see that take place right there, now here's the thing. Pat Bev might be doing his own show separately because of certain, details that's not being discussed. He might still be licensed under Barstools. Is he solely independent now? I don't know. We don't know if this is going to be the case. Now, here's the thing. The reason we don't know this is to be the case is because we're not in that room. We don't get to be there when they're making these decisions. That's going to affect everything in the world. We don't know. But one thing I do know is the Barstools logo isn't there to tell me Pat is really doing it on his own. He's got his own name now, and he wants to build it up his way. But if he's building it up just to give it back to Barstools, that would be insane. That would be very insane to do after what you just experienced, to go right back to giving it to him. Yeah, that would be crazy. Crazy work. Well, me, I'm the puppet slayer. So I come here and slay all the lies that they put in front of you. Now, here's the problem. Who up here owns something? Stephen A. Smith owns zero. LeBron James owns zero. Shannon Sharp owns zero. Academics own zero. Champagne Sloppy zero. Cam and Mace, what do they own? Zero. Maul zero. Vlad, ding, ding. Oh, you mean to tell me DJ Vlad, nobody owns him? But every last one of these people are owned. Oh, Cam, ding, owned by Underdog. But could get his own way out if he wanted to. Rory and Maul, now owned by Netflix. Champagne Sloppy was owned by UMG. Now he's been passed off to Sony and still owned by UMG. Academics, he's owned by DJ Vlad. Now he eating off him. This is his new master over here. He worked so hard to be independent to have a master. Shannon Sharp, ding, owned by Better Collective. Better Collective controls his decisions and his marketing, everything. They now own Shannon Sharp. LeBron James, ding, owned by every white man with a check. Stephen A. Smith, ding, owned by ESPN and Disney. This is what we are trying to tell you here, people. How can I be owned by YouTube when YouTube can't do anything unless I do it? I do what I want to do when I want to do it. Meaning that this video right here that you're listening to, I own it. I can take this and put it anywhere. Yeah. I don't need YouTube's permission to do it. Oh, you didn't know that, did you? I can take this video, put it anywhere around the world, make money with it. Because it's mine. YouTube gets a percentage. Our splits are not the same as everybody else's on YouTube. Sorry. I have better splits. So I make more on YouTube than people who have hundreds of thousands of views. I know people who have hundreds of thousands of views and got $3. I'm not lying. $3 off 100,000 views. They made a total of $3. I know another person that made $30. It's about your splits. It's not about the view. It's about the adherence or retention rate. How long are people listening to you?
So I get a call, right, through this whole process, right, this whole case process, right. I haven't been able to like really post anything with Barstool, you know, just until everything was over with. Dave has done a phenomenal job being communication-wise, right, allow me to still be with Barstool, but, you know, basically until I get my shit in order, you feel me, like, come back when you're not hot type of vibes, and I understood it. So now that, you know, everything has been, you know, the truths came out and everything is over with, I'll call Dave, like, okay, cool. It's time to get back on the pod. Like, what's up? You feel me? And Dave say, have you talked to the guys? And I'm like, okay. I don't know why I got to talk to them, but all right. I hit the group chat. Mind you, through this whole time, right? And I don't want to harp too much on this, but through this whole time, like, I ain't heard a word from Ron. Right? Not one word. Not, is you okay? Is family okay? Is mom okay? Is sister okay? Not a word. Right? And I'm an emotional type of dude, so y'all let me know if I'm in my feelings or not. So Christmas come, and I know I'm gonna get a, Merry Christmas from him. And you feel me? I wait, and I don't get, and I hit him like, yo, Merry Christmas. Like, hope the fam is well. You know, he hit me back like, oh man, was caught up with the family. Yeah, hope all is well. Mind you, I haven't talked to Ron on the phone since this situation has happened. Not one time. You talking about this, like, me and Ron go deep. Like, feel me? Like, I was there when his kids got baptized, so like, excuse me if I feel some type of way, right? Not from Barstool, just from the homie. This was the Pat Bev and Ron. We got 278,000 subscribers together. We got a YouTube plaque together. You feel me? So like, this is my dog. Like, I thought, like, you feel me? This is my dog. So I hit the group like, yo, I'm back, boys. I'm ready to work. You feel me? Like, man, stuff is past, man. Y'all been holding down. I'm ready to get back to work. Ron reached out to me, man. I know you glad this is over, this. I'm like, all right. So, okay, when do we start? And then they go quiet. And I'm like, they like, have you talked to anybody? I'm like, talk to anybody? Like, I talked to Dave. Dave say, have I talked to y'all? I talked to y'all. Y'all tell me, have I talked to somebody else? So me and Dave get on the phone. And And Dave, shout out to Dave too, man. Solid dude since day one. Like from him finding me into where I am right now, media wise, he's been a phenomenal, right? I talked to Dave, and Dave hit me like, yeah, the guys wanted me to reach out and tell you that you know, they want to keep going how the pod is now. You know, you've been gone for 3 months, and they want to, you know, just keep that going right now. And I'm like, what guys? Like, what guys are you talking about? Like, he's like, the guys from the pod. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? Like, why hasn't, you feel me? I'm talking about producers. Like, I'm talking about I got people who produce the show currently. I had them sleeping on my couch in my house, bought them beds, have my chef cook them meals. Like, I still ain't heard from them. Like, excuse me if I feel some type of way, y'all. Excuse me. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. You feel me? I'm wrong a lot. But I'm a real dude. So y'all let me know if I'm wrong or not for feeling this type of way. I say, Dave, why are you telling me this? Like, why ain't nobody from the pod like telling me this? Yeah, they told me to reach out to you, right? And I'm like, okay, so what you saying? Like, what you saying? I'm just saying that I mean, you know, guys don't want you on the pod. I'm like, but we was just doing numbies on the pod, right? We was me, J. Will, Wrong, first episode 119,000, second episode 94,000. Like, you feel me? Like, we've been doing numbies. Like, I say, all right, cool, right? Cool. And Dave talk, we chop it off about 30 minutes, right? We hang up. I hit Wrong, text him. Like, damn, dog, like, you could have warned me about the bullet I was about to get, right? I thought we was friends, right? I thought we was, you feel me? Like, but regardless, it's always love, Wrong. You know the vibes. Like, you know the vibes. You feel me? Like, you Brody, to me still, right? Like, you know the vibes. Wrong hit me back like, yeah, man, I just found out 15 minutes ago before you talked to Dave. Like, I guess they made a business decision. So I'm really confused right now, right? I'm really confused. If we live in a place where it's innocent until proven guilty and I'm innocent, I don't understand why, like, but that's a whole nother story. So yeah.
Here's the thing. That's sad. And the reason that is sad is because Pat Bev, after everything he said, he's confusing friendship with business. Exactly. Now, when you confuse friendship and business, 9 times out of 10, you are going to be on the outside going, all right, the sports page, you finally came over. Oh, yeah, it's not Rome. It's Rome. Now, here's the thing. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. That's wrong. But no. No, it's not Jim Rohn. It's Rone, Rone. But the problem that exists here is a commonality factor that once you keep seeing it, you start understanding more and more what the actual play is. And the play is to keep changing as it goes on. See, most people who are there, they're following a structure that does not fit the criteria of what they're doing. You know, most of these people, they lose their identity. And once they do, you know, and don't forget to go subscribe to Pat Bev show, man. The Pat Bev show, definitely check him out and support his movement. Like he said, like, man, dog, you could have warned me about any of this, but he didn't even communicate with him. I find that shisty, but here's the thing: they weren't your friends, and they weren't good for business. They weren't thinking about you when they were doing their business deals. They weren't thinking about you. You were expendable to them. You were there to drive up the numbers. You know how he got the deal? You know how he got the deal? Pat Bev got the podcast deal because he went on a show talking about when people see Chris Paul, we eat him up. We call him a cone. He went viral off of that moment when he was on First Take. Barstool saw that and was like, this guy's a star. So they had to go grab him and offer him a deal. We're going to pay you X, Y, and Z. Boo, boo, boo. You come in. So, of course, podcasting he was an active NBA player. So podcasting wasn't in his wheelhouse. It wasn't something he wanted to do full time as of yet. He still wanted to play ball. He was still playing ball. So that wasn't his main concern. So the deal he got allowed him to do both. But he never owned the show. They did. And because they own the show, you now see how it all aligns. Oh, 100%. When you get yourself involved in a business with people who you can't trust, that's automatically going to shake the tree. We have done this. We've seen it. We've done it. We didn't experienced it. I've told you guys the stories, the shady characters. Not everybody have morals, especially in business. Not everybody has principles. A lot of people see the numbers. A lot of people don't see there's factors that goes on that's going to screw you down the road. And you got to say, well, if you don't change that, there's no way I could do the deal. Well, I got to protect my interests. Because that's what they're going to say. I'm got to guarantee I'm not going to lose here. So I got to get something on the back end in case this don't work. And you know it's going to work. If KB ever did a podcast show, first of all, first thing you would want to do, build your own studio. Build your own studio. Don't go into a studio that you gotta rent. Build your own studio. If this is your career, you want to make a studio at your house, fine. But what kind of podcast show do you want? If you want a podcast show that has guests to show up on your show that's not by Zoom, that they have to physically be there, not everyone wants to go to your house. They're not your friend, B. They're not coming over, B. So if you want people to listen to you and take you seriously, this is how it needs to be. This is how it should be addressed. This is how it should come across. Now, if you want to ignore. But the factors are the factors. When it comes to a head, when the rubber meets the road, That's the decisions you're going to have to make, because people are not going to be happy going to a studio that they don't care about. Now, this is just me. I'm going to do it like that. If I'm going to build it, I got to have a studio I'm going to build. Let's do Zoom first. We could do like Nightcap. You know why Nightcap is able to benefit and make more? It's less costly. It costs them less money to get what everybody else is getting. You don't need 20, 30 people in a room trying to run a network show. All these assistants and staff members, and no. How much assistants and staff you think is at Chad house over there, right? Him and Unc doing the show every week. How many people you see over there doing their thing, right? You see, business friends will buy you dinner, loan you some cash, but they won't visit you in the hospital or care about your personal problems. That's true. The most thing I ever got in business when I was in the hospital, they sent flowers from the job. I doubt any of the bosses ever even, they just said, send flowers. That's all they did. And all the hospital was doing was trying to run up the bill. They so out of the loop. So out of the loop. Here we go, loop-de-loo. Here we go, loop-de-la. Because everybody is so pedantic. They're moving around reckless. They're doing stupid shit over and over again. Thanks for the super chat. Don't forget to hype the video, whatever the hype the video means. I'm like, hype Williams? What are we doing? We hyping the video, y'all. I'm like, hype. This is what we went back to 1990. Hype. I haven't really used hype since 1990. What was Kid and Play? We too high. Yo, son, that's the hype joint. I'm like, Jesus Christ. They can hype your video. Get people involved to hype it up. Yo, man, hype my video up. I got to get my hype points up. And hype the video up. Okay, we're hyping it now. Basically, Jay-Z will get knocked off. Oh, my bad. That's people in my chat. Oh, some of my bets, my picks. Some of my picks. I'm gonna put my picks on my Patreon. So, yeah, man, I had a crazy bet, man. Last night, dog, $2,600 down the drain. I'm still not happy over there. I thought it was $20. It was a $15 bet. $15 bet. Gonna get me $2,600. Look how many games I got right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And number 8, the Denver game from last night. All they had to do was go over. And they would have to over. Had to over. Missed 3 free throws. I had St. John's, Central Florida, Purdue, the Pistons, the Brooklyn Nets at 19.5 points, underdogs. I bet that in a heartbeat. Houston Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies plus 15.5 at Boston. I had every game. I saw through all the bullshit. I had all of it, man. And last night, in the middle of that live stream, they offered me a cash out of like $1,100. And I was like, should have took it. I won some other bets, but not that much. I won $500. I was like, I was mad. I won $500. That's how pissed off I was. I was just disgustedly upset. So, anyway, we'll get back with y'all directly. Shouts out to Kwame Brown Bus Life. Don't forget to follow him. Go to my Patreon. We are loaded on the Patreon, and we are out.